Welcome back, amazing family. Now, this lover made some revelations, pretty much like the story of Annie, 2Face, and the other women involved, right? And the person shared these pictures. As I read, you're going to get to know, the people. Like this lady here is former Miss Nigeria, that 2Face got involved with, and this one here is Sumbo. So it's going to be a very long read, but just come along with me, all right? Now, Toke Makinwa house, Tiwa Savage's house, AY's house, and 2Face house used to take turns in doing their drugs. They were all neighbors for record purposes. I will summarize it so the Gen Zs among us will understand. Story. Back in the years, there lived a young, handsome, ambitious Idoma guy. His name na Innocent Idibia. He was a hot boy and an upcoming music artist those days. He was part of the popular music crew named Plantation Boys, which consists of 2Face, Face, and Blackface. Those years, they were part of the trending upcoming star, and 2Face, who happens to be the hottest among them, was the envy of a lot of girls. Ladies threw themselves at him, and him being a good keeper, they catch them steady. The whole of Festac knows him. He was very randy then. He also has a thing for beauty queens back then. He had just got off a relationship with one beauty queen before going into a relationship with another beauty queen by the name Vien. They were so in love, and it was not a hidden relationship at all. The news was everywhere until a 15-year-old charming teenager ran into Innocent in a studio named Ezra Studio. The rest, they say, is history. As at when 15 years old Annie Macaulay met 24 years old Innocent Idibia, it was love at first sight. The 15 years old fell for the superstar immediately. Being the next big thing then, their relationship sprang like a flower being watered daily. The beauty queen was in the picture as at that time, but one thing led to another, and she called it quits with Innocent. According to her, she nurtured Innocent, stood by him when he had a fatal accident, sacrificed a lot of things for him, only for a 15-year-old girl to catch the attention of Innocent. Annie was always visiting. That was part one. This was a comment under this. Same Annie was the babe that was with 2Face during his accident, and not another babe. In fact, she was the only babe the hospital gave access to enter the hospital, as 2Face gave the order cause his life was in danger then. The hospital was at 202 Road. We that lived in Festac know this wella. Na Annie day with Tubaba then, and he chose her and flaunted her well in Festac then. Other comments read, Annie was in the picture before Vien. Annie even said this to Naked and Kanye. She said she was the first in Tubaba's life. Another said she was with him when he was hospitalized. He reached her turn. He divorced her. Then Gislova did a part 2. Then came the first pregnancy that broke the camel's back. There was one lady named BIMBO in Festac then. She was dating 2Face, and Annie knew about it. Annie was always fighting the lady. 2Face kept denying, saying the lady was just a mere fan back then. To cut the long story short, BIMBO got pregnant. All hell was let loose. She told Innocent, but he said he was not ready. He is an artist just starting his life. Besides, Annie won't take it lightly. Long story short, BIMBO found her way to Inno's mama. She advised BIMBO to stick around, that she would care for the baby. Annie, on hearing the news, was so devastated she was hospitalized for days. In all of this, Annie's mom was tired of wanting her to leave 2Face. At some point, she wanted to arrest 2Face to let her daughter be, but Annie kept threatening her mother that she was going to commit suicide if anything happens to her man, or if he was locked up. Bimbo, on the other hand, was staying with 2Face Mama. Annie begged 2Face to tell Bimbo to get rid of the pregnancy. Annie told 2Face that the pregnancy would be a dent on his career. Women might draw back from listening to his song, that it's one of the reasons why she didn't leave his her first pregnancy, because prior to Bimbo getting pregnant at 17, Annie got pregnant, but 2Face begged her to abort it. So Annie insisted the girl should do so too. Long story short, 2Face went to Bimbo, sweet talk her, and that was how Bimbo followed him to their favorite hospital in Festac those days. The rest, they say, is history. After taking out the pregnancy, Annie made sure she bullid that lady in Festac until the lady and her family left the area. Annie conquered. So easy to conquer. Bimbo, being a poor man picking, then came the heavy blow she couldn't conquer. Now, here are some comments under this. Someone said, sorry, but this story no clear. How 17-year-old Annie, that was also poor at the time, pursued a whole family from Festac. Then this funny commenter says, she used 2Face's money. Like, it's how people were cracking jokes. And someone said, Annie isn't poor. Someone whose mom was working in Mobile. Another said, Annie's parents were not poor. They were just separated. And another says, lol, who tell you say Annie come from poor home then? That period, if you live in Festac, you know small at all 100. Okay, so now there was a part 3 released. I'll just read. After Annie conquered Bimbo and her pregnancy, her love with 2Face kept burning. 2Face already announced her as the official babe then. She was close to 18 years old, and 2Face dropped African Queen, dedicated to Annie Macaulay, who was with him through thick and thin, living with him in Festac with his brothers and plantation boys then. The love was a sight to behold. After African Queen, which was a major hit and breakthrough, 2Face became more popular, which means more girls, more money. He was not the one chasing girls now. They were flocking around his table. After African Queen, Annie and 2Face kept breaking up and patching things up. In the process, 2Face met a sweet girl. Her name is Sumbo. Sumbo is from a respected average family, but she wanted to date a superstar by force. So she was showering Innocent gifts and all. She asked about Annie living with Innocent. Innocent denied and told her he's a single man. He's just helping Annie because of accommodation problem. Sumbo started showering 2Face Mama gifts too, and the brothers. They all liked her. To cut the long story short, Sumbo got pregnant and was the beginning of Annie's problem to date. All hell was let loose. To make matters worse for Annie, 2Face Mama was solidly behind Sumbo. It was such a big case then. To escape depression, Annie started smoking then, not drugs yet. After seeing she can't win this battle, she gave up and broke up with 2Face. That was how 2Face was left with Sumbo alone. Sumbo's family frowned at their union, called 2Face an opportunist, but she was in love too. Sumbo broke the jinx and gave birth to 2Face's first child, even though Sumbo's family vowed they were never going to allow Sumbo live with him. Long story short, Sumbo just gave birth. 2Face again met a rich kid who just arrived from USA. Her name, Pero Adeni, the daughter of the famous rich Prince Jide Adeni. It was love at first sight. Remember, 2Face just welcomed a child with Sumbo, and Annie broke up with him. But one way or the other, 2Face and Annie still kept in touch. One thing led to another. Pero took 2Face to another level, spoiled him with money, being a rich man's child. Now, some comments here says 2Face is not a lover man, he is a user. Now use all of them, but now Annie go fall deep in love. Another says the consequence of greed, laziness, and wanting to marry a superstar by all means, with all the red flags, so clear like check. Annie, enjoy the life you chose. This is the consequence of your decision. We'll all reap what we sow. Yada yada. So far, this is all Gist Lover has shared. If there's more, I'm going to share. Now, please take this with a pinch of salt because it's not as though it's verified or something, but some of the things that Gist Lover mentioned are actually true based on the story I followed personally growing up. Okay, also around Festag. Now, like I said, take it with a pinch of salt, but just take it as Gist Lover's report of their background story. Now, do well to share your thoughts about this as I keep you updated. Cheers. Hi everyone,